Speaker Gingrich, thank you for joining us today. Your new book is titled To Save America, Stopping Obama's Secular Socialist Machine. First, what is a secular socialist machine? And then would you explain whether you think voters are stupid since they elected President Obama in 2008?
Well, let me start with the second question. And let me say the part of the point of To Save America is whether you had Obama or not. The scale of change we need to be successful in a world competing with China and India is so large that you would have to have very dramatic change under any circumstance, which is a point I made in Winning the Future 3 years ago and I made in Real Change last year. So I do think the whole question of the scale of change has almost nothing to do with Obama. I mean, I think both parties have failed. I'm not in here saying Obama's the bad guy and if he wasn't there, things would be good.
You know, I was really taken aback by something you just said, which was that I'm not in here saying Obama is the bad guy, but in your book you say the president's secular socialist machine represents as great a threat to America as Nazi Germany or the Soviet Union once did. That sure sounds like you think he's a bad guy with bad ideas.
Well, he certainly has bad ideas. He certainly has bad ideas, and I believe if by traditional America you mean a country which was endowed by its creator with unalienable rights, you mean a country which emphasized the work ethic, you mean a country in which local people had local control over local government, then the victory of the secular socialist machine certainly would be a definitive end of that world. And that's what you're seeing.
Do you see part of your role in writing this book and touring the country and speaking as helping Americans find a consensus on some of these crucial issues we have to address as a country to move forward, like the national debt, like immigration reform, like how to have world-class schools? Or do you see it as to rabble-rouse? Because this conversation has been very reasonable and interesting. This book is really over the top in places. There's some good ideas in here, but some of the rhetoric is really offensive. And it's just, you know, it doesn't quite fit with what is the conversation in this room. So what is your role?
I think what I'm trying to do is, first of all, say that we're at a genuine crossroads, and the crossroads implies real choices. It doesn't imply necessarily compromise. You go this way or you go this way. I'm trying to say, second, I think you can build a new consensus, but as Arthur Brooks points out in his new book, The Battle, based on all of the looking at major data, and he's probably the leading expert on Gallup data on this topic, this is about a 70-30 center-right country. About 30% of the country is on the left. My real job is not to figure out how to find a common ground with the left. My real job is to figure out how do you bring the 70% together, and which by the way is a pretty big consensus.